Hello, go ahead and hit the big button to make my face fill your screen. You don't want to see me this big. You want to see me this big. Trust me. Okay. Now that I'm there big, I am going to talk a little bit about our pastoral care program. Everyone should have one of these. I'm going to talk through a few parts of this flowchart. If you don't have it yet, please someone pause this video while it gets passed out. Okay, welcome back from that pause. Let's talk about this. Okay, so the very top left corner, there's a red box. This is the process of how we handle pastoral care requests. When someone's in the hospital, when someone's sick, how do we handle these things? And so this is specifically about hospitals and sickness. This is not death, okay? So upper left box, these red boxes are before action, okay? So the upper left is care info comes to office staff, pastors, elders, or their spouses. And if you go down if it's firsthand information. So if Peter calls you and says, this happened to me or my immediate family member, then okay, that's firsthand information. You now have firsthand information. We can go on. If it's secondhand information, we go to the next box, which is, so Peter calls you and says, hey, Elder Bob, Susie's daughter just went into the hospital. Time out. That's secondhand information. We'll probably do stuff, right? You can read the path. The end of that is, we're going to check out the hearsay. We're going to investigate it more. But we don't take action on something that's secondhand information. Okay, so assuming it's first-hand information, we go on. Is it urgent? You can read through this more if you want. Is the need for someone in our church? Blah, blah, blah. Let's look at the green box to the left where it says add to elders prayer chain if requested. Lynette will call you. Lynette's the one that manages all of this. She'll call you, sometimes Carrie too. She'll call you to get your prayer chain started if requested. Now, here's the thing about prayer chains. We always try to be careful, to put it on there prematurely, because here's the deal: we don't get to decide what's confidential. If it's a surgery on your private parts, okay, obviously that should be confidential. But there's this other part of it too. People sometimes feel invaded if a lot of people know. Let's say you show up at church and you have an ear surgery. That's not personal. You think ear surgery is no big deal. But if you show up at church and 30 people are coming up to you saying, hey, how's your ears? People you don't even know. For a lot of people, that weirds them out. Whoa, how do you know this? I don't even know who you are. You know me, and you're telling me how my ear is. So it's not necessarily about confidentiality. It's about their comfort level. If they don't ask to be on the prayer chain, they don't get on the prayer chain. We can ask them, do you want this on the prayer chain? But we try to be careful about that because we don't get to decide what's confidential. That's kind of obvious. Okay. Okay, so if it passed the right litmus test, right in the middle, there's the green box that says begin an entry in Evernote and inform elder and pastors. Let me explain this. This pastoral care program, of caring for people in the hospitals, it's sometimes getting called the Evernote program. Stop that. This is not the Evernote program. What we were doing before was the yellow card program. We kept track of details on a yellow card. So pastor would write down, we need to visit Peter, and then he'd give it to an elder, or he'd give it to me or Pastor Jeff or somebody. And that yellow card then would be gone. We wouldn't get it back. We wouldn't have feedback. I one time had a yellow card given to me on a Friday. On a Monday, I was about to go visit. I don't know. It was a couple days later I was going to go visit. And then it was oh, no, don't go visit. They're all out of the hospital. And I thought, what? How are they out of the hospital and I didn't find out? This was dispatched to me to go visit these people, but I didn't find out about it. So we don't have yellow cards anymore. We have Evernote. It's just a way of keeping track. That's all Evernote is. It doesn't notify you. It doesn't schedule you. It keeps track of the details. That's it. And it's in the cloud, so you can get it. So hypothetically, the reason this is great, so Lynette puts it in, Peter's in the hospital. I asked Bob to go visit. So Bob goes to the hospital, does a visit. And he writes in, Peter's really sick, expected to get out tomorrow. So let's say John's going to go visit Peter the next day. He can get on Evernote and go, oh, it's expected that he's going to be gone. I should call before I show up. We get to know what the last person did. This is especially important when we have long cases where we want to know what's been done already. Like if you're doing a visit, but you're the fifth person to visit, because this guy's been in the hospital for 2 months, and you're like coming into it. You want to know what's happened. You want to know what that person expects you to know. Evernote is the way we keep track of it. It doesn't notify you. Evernote doesn't email you. It's a way to keep track of what happened for those people. Does that make sense? I hope so. If you want to get on Evernote, it's free. It's an app on my phone. It's an app on a computer. It works on every computer. If you want to get Evernote, just get it. Just get an app, Evernote. And once you have the app, shoot me an email, pastoradam@newhope.in, and say, hey, I have Evernote, and this is my email address that I use for Evernote, and I'll just add you to the group, and you can have access to everything. If you don't want to mess with Evernote, that's cool, because when we email you about a person that needs a visitation, we will also email you a link to Evernote online. So if you have the internet, you can read what's on Evernote. You just could not edit it. Does that make sense? I hope so. I'm off having a baby somewhere, so I can't really answer your question. But if you need more clarification, please just call me. Or ask someone there, because they might know. This isn't new. Okay, so if there's a hospital stay, I'm going down, I'm back to this page. After the Evernote part, we put it into Evernote, so it started, the issue is in the database. And then if they're going in for surgery or having a hospital stay, we react as necessary. And that means visitations. Here's how this works. Lynette will call you and arrange for, or call or email, and request someone to visit. She's owning keeping track of taking care of these people. And so we need to be really good about getting back with Lynette. So she says, hey, can you do this? And you're like, no, I can't. I'm swamped at work. All right, so we can go on to the next person. Elders are not the only people that do visitations. Pastors do them. And we have some other volunteers that can do visitations as well. And sometimes it makes sense to dispatch the elder in that alphabetical zone. We always tell the elder, inform the elder of what's going on of someone in their alphabetical zone. But sometimes it makes more sense for a different elder or a different person to do that visitation. Like in an emergency, and it's on a holiday weekend in Angola. Okay, does anybody live in Angola? Tom Philbrin does. Tom, could you run over? Because it has to be done like right now. So, yeah, okay. I'm blabbering now. It's hard to do this when there's not people looking at me nodding. So, I hope that makes sense. So, okay, yeah, so Lynette's arranging for people to go out and do these things, keeping track to make sure that people get reasonable visitations. And if you want to know exactly what we're doing, you can, this is our plan. We try to live by it. Okay, hope that makes sense. Can we look at this page real quick? New Hope Care Calls / visits. I'm going to just point, you can read it later if you want. But I want to point out just a couple things. Things we always do. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth one down. Leave a note if they were sleeping or unavailable. We have nice sorry we missed you cards available. Leave them sitting in your glove compartment. Okay, so we have these guys. Sorry we missed you. I think they're getting passed around right now. It's little tent cards. If you're at the hospital and the person's sleeping, you don't want to wake them up. Or more than once I've been in a situation where it's like, oh, I can't really go into the room because like they're getting a sponge bath or something. And I can't wait an hour for them to get done. So I want to leave a note. It's so awkward to leave a note on the back of a dirty envelope because that's what's available. So we have these pretty things, and it looks so they'll feel cared for by the church. Okay, so if you take this, on the other side you can write a note like blah 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 blah, Pastor Evan, and then fold it, and you can leave it on their table or ask the nurse to put it on the table. Sorry we missed you, New Hope Christian Center, and there's a little note in the middle. So that's that. Okay, the last point on things we always do. Soon after the visit or call, provide a concise report to Lynette at newhope.in or directly into the Evernote program. If you have Evernote, you can put it right in there. But if you don't, we still need to get it onto Evernote, so email Lynette and she'll put it on there. Include the date, the medical condition, any updates we have, the expected release date, and any other information you think might be helpful to the next person who visits them. I like to do this from my phone before I even leave the parking lot. Okay, so what we hear on the phone, like I've been told, like, hey, this is the situation with somebody. And then I go into the hospital and I'm like, that's not the case. I got updated information. It's not that. So that's good to keep track of in Evernote, and that's why we do that. Okay. And people really do expect, if you're an agent of the church, they really do expect you to know what they told Pastor yesterday. So that's why we have Evernote. So if you're going to go visit somebody, it's a good idea for you to check Evernote. What's the most up-to-date information about this person? It's in Evernote. It's in the cloud. Whereas the old system, note cards, like it wasn't being updated because it wasn't in the cloud. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Okay, things we never do. I'm going to just mention the very last thing. We never knowingly delay a response to the office, and I'm talking about the church office. If the church office is asking us to do a visitation that we're not able to do at that time, we all have times we can't do it, please tell us so we can ask someone else and not neglect the church the care that they deserve. I don't know if that's happening or not, so I just think it's important, so I wanted to mention it. Yeah, Lynette's trying to keep all this together, so if she says, hey, can you go? We got to get back with her. Because if we say no, then she can ask someone else, but she doesn't want to send 5 people, at the same time, and then, it'd be crazy. So hopefully this video wasn't too long. 12 minutes, not too bad. Hope that's helpful. If you have any questions about any of it, bring it up. Someone right there might know the answer to it. Or, of course, email me.